Hi there guys, Neil at Italia Autos here. Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today something a little bit different for you. I'm getting out of Italia Autos HQ to go and do a vehicle inspection on a customer's car that he is looking to buy. Now the car is a 2.5 Alfa Romeo 156 V6 and it is apparently a bit of a doer-upper. So it's something that we have got to go and have a look at and ascertain of how much needs doing to it, and let's hope that the weather holds out, because it does look as though it's about to pee it down shortly and I don't want to do this and get soaking wet. So let me jump in the car, let's get over to the location, which isn't too far away luckily. But don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please pause the video now, hit that like and a subscribe button, and whether you watch every time or watch sometimes, please hit that like button for me so I can hopefully get this video to have a few more views. I think it's listed for sale at around £1,500, so join me on this journey as I check it over and see what needs doing on it. We've got a dink on the wing here. Front bumper fitment isn't the best. Loads of stone chips on the front bumper. Wants a new registration plate at the front. Scrapes on the wing. Incorrect wheels fitted to it. Dents on the wing here as well. Dents on the door, not dinks on the door, scratches on the doors. It has got several keys for the vehicle, but they are different door locks to the ignition lock. Rust coming through on the back of the door here. Door rubbers are starting to rust through, and they're like the impossible thing to get hold of nowadays. Boot spoiler is flat and it looks like lacquer's peeling on it, or it's not been painted correctly. Rear bumper's got a scrape on the corner. Dent on the boot lid and the badge needs changing. Scratch here. Moisture inside the rear window, so I'll be checking for leaks when I open the boot. That's had a smart repair there. Kind of see the line across here, so that's going to want sorting out. Again, bubbling on the door seals. Faded wing mirror. Sunroof seal is starting to expand a bit, but that might not actually be fitted correctly. Rust along the front edge here. Bonnet badge needs changing. Bonnet doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Onto the engine. It has no engine cover on it. Apparently the cam belt and water pump was changed 12 months ago, but I will be checking the history on that. It needs an auxiliary belt. It looks like there's some chipping on the end of the belt where it's been catching, so it looks quite old. Cam belt itself is quite hard to tell, because it's been sitting here not getting warmed up. The moisture is going to be sitting on all these tensioners and it is going to start to look old. But the water pump has been changed, but it does have gasket sealant all around it, so I wouldn't be happy with that. I'd want to be using an original gasket on it. Some rust to the pipes, rusty fuel rails, but you know, it's a 25-year-old car, so it is going to have some sort of like that. More gasket sealant used in here. We've got a hole in the intake pipe. It's got the wrong battery fitted to it. It's got coolant in there, but I don't think it's the right amount. It's missing the front cover for here. Something on wiring loom taped up there for some reason or another, which I don't know. Brake fluid. That looks about fine, but probably could do with changing. Power steering fluid is low, so I would look for a leak on that. It also looks like it needs changing anyway because it's very dark. And all that before I've even looked underneath it and started it up. Front chassis legs, a little bit of rust coming through, but nothing to worry about. Can't really see too much on this side. Oil level is fine. Dipstick appears to be a bit rusty, so I'm going to clean that off and have another look at that. Right, the dipstick is rusty. Now that's one of the places on the car you shouldn't have rust because it should always be submerged in oil. Whether this is an non-original dipstick or whether it was sat for months without a sump on it, I don't know. So it is a little bit concerning that the dipstick is rusty. But the oil inside it is fine. Quick go over on the inside now. Everything's present on the door card. Driver's seat. Goes backwards and forwards and up and down. Rear door card fine, little chip there. Scratch inside the door. Side skirt has been refitted badly. Unfortunately they've used sealant on it, sticky adhesive rather than the tape stuff, so it's always going to leak out if you don't do it properly. Floor is dry. Rear seats barely look used. Rear door card looks all fine and complete. Again, all from this side fine. Footwell is dry. An original stereo with a good screen by the look of it. Don't know whether it works or not. The floor is dry. That's the front mount for attaching the cam belt cover. It's got the original carbon effect centre console. Still got the locking wheel nut for it. On the inside we have got sagging roof liner for the sunroof. That's going to be a difficult one to fix because all the headlining's got to come out. Some dirty marks and stuff up there. It's not sagging anywhere else on the roof, just the sunroof lid. Before I start the car, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. So let's start her up now and see what it sounds like. It is missing most of the exhaust from the cat back, so it is going to be noisy. Doing now, I'm just checking for any bouncing on the tensioners or any of the bearings, making sure they're rolling all okay, checking for fuel leaks, making sure there's no air leaks anywhere, so they are quite prone to leaking fuel around the injectors and any other pipe work going to them. Right, let's plug the computer into it now and see what it comes back with. Fuel pump relay, that's knock sensor signal low, so it's probably going to have had flat battery and stuff disconnected at some point, so let's clear those and see what comes back. Fuel pump relay, so that is something to look at. The vehicle's starting. So we'll have to have a look at that. Apparently it's a bad signal, so it could just want some wiring sorting, as it's gone clear again now. I have already checked the airbag and ABS, they are all clear of fault codes. Does the sunroof work? Now we'll find out. It works, but it's all seized up, so maybe a bit of lubrication will sort it out. but a lot of the time it stopped working because it's rusty, so that's something to look into further. Now let's try the windows. Rear ones, I bet they don't work. Yeah, that one's seized up. It works, but it's seized up. And the passenger rear one isn't working at all, so that doesn't work either. Heater all works. Now the interior is all fine and working bar the sunroof. Let's jack it up and have a look underneath. Apparently it has had some rust repairs, but I can imagine that it's going to need some more. So let's have a look. Right, so let's have a look at the front of the engine now, or the front of the engine bay. As usual, that has rotted away. No visible oil leaks on the engine. A little bit wet around the gearbox side there. Engine rad support is okay. CV boots are held on with cable ties. Not the end of the world, but I've got to point it out. The chassis leg looks okay, a tiny bit of rust on it. Feels solid anyway. Tyres all good, CV boots okay. Not got cable ties on that side. There's that little bit of a weeping gearbox, but there's nothing there for a drip. Oh dear. If you see the floor over there, that has been jacked up incorrectly and creased the floor quite badly. I can see some of the rust repairs on that side, and I can see it's got a cat on there but no exhaust further back, or a bit of exhaust further back, but it is missing a piece. The brakes are quite heavily corroded, but that's just purely to the fact that it's been sitting here for so long. There's no lip really on either side, and the pads, from what I can see, still have lots of life left in them. Okay, right, underneath the car, as you can see, there's your exhaust cat and back pipe. It's going to need a middle pipe because it's got some at the back. It's like a stainless steel exhaust, so it's going to need a pipe making up for it. The underseal on it, it looks like the bitumen type stuff, so that's the stuff which is just going to make the rest of the car rust because it holds moisture behind it. It has had some repairs up here. I can see some welding along there, and it's rusty under there. No holes though. Handbrake cables appear tight. Fuel tank is there, obviously. A little bit of rust coming through there. Rear arms are a bit rusty, but probably the rear arms are all going to be really tired on it. And one of the rear arms is bent. I've just noticed that in the distance there. But all these arms at the back are going to be tired anyway, so they're all going to want changing at some point. Back here has also had a repair, but that also means the towing hook for it is missing. So we have also got another big cutout bit there, so that is going to want sorting properly, as you are missing a rear tow hook. Rest of the boot floor looks okay, and just another view of that bent bar at the back. No play in the anti-roll bar bushes, but the rear anti-roll bar is rusty. It does smell very moist in the boot, and it's wet here. Because of all the stuff in the boot, I can't really go any further down. And all the trim is all coming off at the back. It's got the Alpine CD changer. Some of the exhaust parts are still there, but I'm going to say that does have a leak in the boot, explaining why you've got moisture on the back screen. Normally it's down to the boot seal, And as you can see, it is failing in a few areas, meaning that water can get past it. And the other thing is going to be through seals underneath here, the holes here. Both sides, you've got a gasket there the water can get through, and there's also the seal on the windscreen it can get through. This side isn't the best surface for jacking on, so I ain't going any higher than that. And I'm also not getting too far under the car. But it's been repaired along here again. Underside is actually pretty solid other than the parts that have already been welded. So that's an okay from me. Now, as it's got no exhaust on it, I'm not taking it on the road because it's not legal to drive it. Brakes feel okay without the ignition on. I think that could do with bleeding. They're very spongy. Power steering. Power steering is good. Even though the fluid's low, I can't hear the reservoir moaning, but with that exhaust you're not going to hear it anyway. Clutch bite points. Can we select all gears? It's a little bit stiff on the left to right movement. As you can see, there's nothing springing back at all. So that's going to want some gear bushes putting in that. That's not an expensive fix, but we can select all the gears and go forwards and backwards. So overall impressions of the car, it does need money spending on it. I need to check through the history. Actually, it needs a glove box because it's missing the hinges. There's also no service history in there as well, so I need to ask for that. Last thing I'm going to want to check is the service history for the vehicle, because the cam belt's apparently been done 12 months ago. I want to see proof of that. So overall, the car isn't too bad. It's very much a project car. Unfortunately, I can't drive it because of the exhaust. So that is still in the unknown section, but we do have gears going forwards and backwards. Power steering works. Engine sounds okay. It's not overly ticky, noisy. There's no major oil leaks on the vehicle. So the mechanics of the car are all there. It does need some work on the suspension at the back. All the brakes are fine at the back. Handbrakes are fine. You know, at the end of the day, it's a project car and it is going to need some money spending on it. So it's up to the customer to work out whether it is financial for him to buy this car at this price, and then put what's easily going to be, off the top of my head, £1,000, £1,500, £2,000 into it to sort out a little bit of the bodywork, to get the exhaust sorted. It's going to want fluid changes. And yeah, it's up to the customer. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll go and check the service history, and if there's anything to report, I shall give you a bit more in the video. Back in the Jeep, and he didn't have any service history at all to show me. He did say that the cam belt was done a year ago, but unfortunately that means absolutely nothing in the world of Alfas unless you've got a receipt showing that cam belt being done with a costing on it and a decent garage on there. It might as well have not been done. So at the minute, that's another bill of 650 quid plus to get the cam belt sorted. Now, car inspections isn't something new for me. I have done them every now and again over the years, so I've never really pushed it. So now I thought I might as well tell you guys, the guys that are always looking at buying Alfas and Fiats, that I charge roughly £165 and up for a vehicle inspection. It does vary depending on the distance from the unit, but if you've got anything you want me to inspect, send me an email. The email is in the description below, and we can discuss and see whether we can save you some money when buying a car. So we shall end that video there. Don't forget to give it a like, subscribe, share, and I shall see you in the next video.